Welcome back for another monthly Ashes of Creation development update, this time for the month of August. Got some cool stuff to talk about this month, including an update to the world map, the node system, the caravan system, and more. You guys probably know the drill by now, chapter markers will be below. Let's jump right in. Start off with a quick studio update. Intrepid just recently ended their Milestone 2 phase, which we don't exactly know what this milestone entails, but things seem to be moving along over at the studio. They also recently celebrated this internal achievement with a big town hall type meeting where they showed off various team achievements. Intrepid has also hired over 40 people this year alone, and they're continuing to hire more. In this video footage that you're seeing right now, you're seeing some areas of the Alpha 2. Alpha 2 is going to have a significant cross-section of different types of biomes, and the primary ones are forests, riverlands, and desert. These will be the predominant areas that Alpha 2 players will have access to. You can see this beautiful dense forest and take note of the sway of the grass and the leaves, and also this vast dry desert where you can see palm trees gently swaying in the desert wind. All of this is here to help add to a player's world immersion, something that's certainly lacking in many MMOs. Deserts in particular tend to be some of the more boring, explorable biomes in video games, but Intrepid is working to try to spruce things up a bit with their deserts. Steven told us that the desert in Alpha 2 will adhere to the seasons, and we can expect variance in the weather. We're going to be seeing weather conditions such as tornadoes and also giant, rather terrifying dust storms. With different weather conditions may also come different creatures. Now, Steven didn't really elaborate on this too much, but I think what he's getting at here is, and I'm of course making this up. Let's say that there's a giant dust storm. Well, perhaps a particular type of desert creature that's suited for the harsh winds and the minimal visibility conditions will then come out to hunt creatures that are in hiding. Dynamic events like this that tie weather and creatures together will help keep biomes that are more traditionally on the mundane side a bit more interesting and exciting. Have a listen to Steven's perspective on how Intrepid views the handling of their environmental designs and systems.
Graphics don't make a game fun. Systems make games fun, but graphics make those systems far more enjoyable. And that is kind of the perspective that we have with the game.
Moving on to the new character art, right here we have the Jade Sigil. This outfit is called the Trawler's Guise, which is a nice outfit for those living by tropical waters. In this particular case, it was designed for the Nicoan dwarves. Right here is what Intrepid is calling the Garden Mount, and Steven pointed out that the branches on this mount will be interactive with the wind, and I would imagine other weather conditions as well. This mount is called the Crested Sun Plume, or something along those lines. Now, to imagine that this guy is a bit faster in water, I doubt that it's an actual flying mount. This is some concept art of a Minotaur in the world of Vera, and we're actually told that we'll be seeing gameplay of a Minotaur fighting a Ranger in September's monthly development update. Very excited for that. This particular Minotaur is just one class among several for the Minotaur race. This is not a playable race though, so don't get your hopes up. And surprise, some of the Minotaurs that we encounter will be riding on warhogs. There's so much attention to detail in the concept art, and Intrepid has been proving time and time again that their 3D artists are very capable of bringing concept art to the 3D world in a way that exceptionally represents the original art. This Minotaur image is interesting because you can see on the Minotaur's chest a couple of Dunir dwarf skulls. And what was revealed to us is that dwarves are actually born with beards, and over time the beards apparently grow through the skin. At least that's what Steven said, and I think he was being serious. Either way, I'm cool with that. And on this Minotaur's shield you see another dwarf, so it seems like the Minotaurs and the dwarves are not exactly getting along too well. This snake-like creature is an inhabitant of a particular dungeon, and we're told that there will be several variants of this creature, such as a black mamba one, rattler snake one, a cobra one, and more. This mighty creature is a world boss, and you can see the human model at its feet that gives us an idea of its scale. Some of us may see this creature for the first time in the distance as a silhouette stomping through a forest, and his stomps will be able to be heard from far distances. To lighten it up a little bit here is a rootling with a potato butt, but I have no idea what its purpose is in the game. And here is a face model for the playable race called the Empyrean Elves. The last few updates we've seen the Pyray or Pyrai Elves, which are like the Wood Elves for this game. The Empyrean Elves are a bit more structured and militaristic. What you're seeing right here are the Nikoan dwarves, which are an atypical type of fantasy dwarf that Intrepid has created. These guys have a lot of Polynesian influences, and unlike their counterparts, the Dunir dwarves that live in the mountains, the Nikoa dwarves live in coastal areas. We're not done with the playable races though, as here you have the Valoon humans. These are humans that were forged in the heat of the desert. It's really great seeing the playable races develop closer to their final form. The last part for the art section is this giant beetle, which there are several variants. These are hostile creatures that most of us will be engaging with in combat. Now let's talk about a few design updates, and this is where it starts to get really interesting. The map of Vera has gone through some significant changes as it's better evolving to accommodate the ever-changing world systems that are present in this game. The further Intrepid gets into development, the more that they understand exactly what they need, so it's good to see the world map evolving and updating as time goes on. This map is the new map, and it includes several changes in a few of the continents in terms of their shapes and orientation. There's new waterways and even 2 completely new islands that were introduced to better accompany the game's naval system. This map in total size is around 1,200 square kilometers, and around 480 of that is actual land. To put that in perspective, Skyrim's map was around 37 square kilometers, and Azeroth, at least in the earlier days, was around 113. To travel from the top of a continent to the bottom, we're told that it will be roughly around 50 minutes of runtime on a regular land mount, which would equate to around 75 minutes of running on foot. We also learned that to travel from one end of a fully leveled up Stage 6 Metropolis node to its other end, it will take a running player around 2 minutes and 50 seconds, which in my opinion is actually a pretty fair size, especially for a game that's filled with so many nodes. The primary reason for the map update was to make for better intercontinental trade routes, and also Intrepid wants ships to be able to reach as many areas as possible to ensure that their naval systems remain an important aspect of the game. On this same subject, we now know that the open seas are going to be an automatic PvP flagged location. When you move off of land into the open sea, these are international waters where you have to be careful. The seas are going to offer a lot of opportunity for players, and because of this, Intrepid wants to ensure that these higher opportunities also come with risk.
In my opinion, this type of change creates a very compelling type of gameplay. And not everybody is excited about PvP, but as I've always said, Ashes of Creation is not meant to be the game for everyone, right? There are a lot of games where it is entirely safe to exist on a server, and you don't have to worry about threats or risk, right? It's just all opportunity. I know I'll eventually get the trophy, right? I just need to run in the hamster wheel a bit longer, and then I'm going to get there. Like that, everyone gets that trophy. What we want to do with Ashes is we want to
gotta work for it.
Rethink that approach, right? We want to encourage intelligent calculations of risk versus reward, right? These are elements that I think players feel really accomplished when they know that they overcame risk for the trophy.
I have a feeling we're going to have a lot of pirate stories to tell in the future. There's also going to be several underrealm areas, which are areas that are beneath the surface land, and many of these will be located around land transit choke points, giving caravans and general travelers alike alternate routes of transit if they feel like a choke point may be a bit too dangerous. The Underrealm will come with its own set of risks though. Now, fast travel, as many of you are aware, is going to be very, very limited in Ashes of Creation, and this is one of the several reasons as to why I'm so interested in this game. Have a listen.
Why is travel important? We've talked about this in the past. You know the reasons why. We've all existed in games where teleportation is very easy to use. And sometimes that can be a detriment because you may have activities like a caravan run that's happening and one person sees you from a certain guild and they do the raid call out to their guild. Everyone open your portals and come here within a split second. And we're going to just, mob this group. No, well, instead that opportunity doesn't exist. If you want to provoke or to gank, an operation of another guild, you need to have foreknowledge. You need to prepare. You need to place your forces around that area, and that's an important aspect. In addition, it makes that travel meaningful, right? If you are having to spend time to move to a location, you're going to think about, what can I do along the way? Why am I moving to that location? How is it more beneficial for me to be in that location versus where I am now, right? This is also in association with the fact that you are a citizen of a particular node, and that node needs your assistance within its vicinity. And if you want to move outside of that vicinity, there should be a really good reason for that. And there's lots of great reasons for it, right? There's trade, there's treasure hunting, there's content that you want to complete, there's POIs that you want to visit, and drop tables that you want to have access to, like resource materials that you can gather and bring back. These are all important elements of regionalizing these locations and making transit between those locations relevant.
Love to hear it. You don't hear many MMO CEOs and creative directors talking like this nowadays. In terms of changes to nodes, one major change is that the total amount of nodes on the world map has decreased from 103 down to 85. And the main reason for this is to increase the richness of each node. I guess you could say there's a bit of a quality over quantity approach to this change. This picture right here is a diagram that shows us a node's vassal structure. And to keep it simple, the 6 represents a max stage 6 metropolis node. If a node reaches stage 6 before the other nodes in its area, it prevents the other nodes from being able to reach their full potential. One level 6 node can control 2 level 5 nodes, and those 5s cannot level up to 6. The level 5 nodes are called vassal nodes, and they'll be subject to the government, alliance, war, taxes, and trade of their parent node, but the vassal node is also able to receive aid from the parent node. A level 5 node can control one level 4 node and one level 3 node as direct vassals. The 4 can control a 3, and every 3 can control a level 1 or 2 node. Maybe a bit confusing if you're first hearing this, but basically each node has a zone of influence, and if they reach a certain level, they get to control other nodes in the area. The vassal nodes feed the parent nodes, but the parent nodes also may provide protection and resources and several other benefits for their vassal nodes. As of now, there can only be 5 level 6 metropolis nodes on a world map at any given time. I'll get into more details on this subject in the future. Now let's go over node policies, and these are things that citizens of a node get to vote on as proposed by their node's mayor. Nodes will have a number of slots that they get to employ as government policies. Certain policies get unlocked by what Intrepid is calling happiness states of the factions within the node. And these happiness states are predicated upon different achievements that can happen in the world, story arcs that get finished, bosses that get killed, amount of citizens that are accepted into the node, new buildings that are constructed, and so on. When the happiness is met at a certain point, you may choose policies that do certain things for the node. This is a big strategic decision that the node has to agree on, and when a policy is employed, it confers benefits to its citizens, the area, specific buildings, the mayor, etc. We got to see several examples of some of these policies that may present themselves to certain nodes. We have Great Harvest, which increases gathering speed within the node's zone of influence by 5%. The Kalar Industry policy makes node construction and upgrade speed 10% faster. Asylum gives instant citizenship for refugees of a fallen node, and the Renkai Honorbound policy says that all node-to-node reputation changes are increased by 5%. And to end the video, I'll talk a bit about updates to the caravan system. So each node is going to have a default building called the Caravansary, which is where you'll purchase, upgrade, and launch caravans for trade. When you have the required materials, you can then construct a caravan, and it'll be hosted at that Caravansary. If you want to then launch that caravan, you'll select it and you'll be provided with a UI screen that will show you the compartments of availability for storage that caravan has. You'll be able to assign those compartments to named interests or members of a party, and you can even apply insurance for pieces of storage. When you're fully prepped and launch ready, if you click launch, your perspective will change to a world map perspective that sits above the node, and you'll have a 360 line that lives outside of a node's area that will be around 100-150 meters from the node, and then you'll spawn the caravan there, which will take a few minutes to actually spawn. During that time, while you're waiting for it to spawn, you can actually teleport to that launch location just outside of the node. This way, players won't be able to follow you, they won't be able to see your caravan that's actually about to leave, but you can also let your party members know and they can port with you. Now obviously, caravan travel is risky, but each node will have a safety radius that will be visible to players that are traveling with their caravans, and once you cross this line, your caravan will be safe. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, more Ashes of Creation content on the way. I'll be covering all of the monthly development updates, and when the Alpha 2 hits, I'll be putting out all sorts of content. I'm very excited. Have a nice day.